absolute pleasure to see everyone today for this session, which is like a dry sponge, as it's described by MENA. The subject matter today is developing the next generation of MENA talent, so the next generation of talent within the Middle East and North Africa. And I'm kind of very, very pleased that we can have this academy. We've got a fantastic array of speakers here, which I'll just very quickly go through the biographies with you, and it's not embarrassing, so it's okay, everyone. But what I love about this particular panel is it's not something that we're kind of aspiring to. This is something that's happening right now, and I'm very pleased that Soccerex MENA has got 4 people here with very different backgrounds, with very different organisations, but they're all working to the same goal, and they're all working to the goal of developing talent in this area. And we're going to find out from them how they're doing it, what they're actually doing, and also the goal as well, what the future holds for the development of talent. So, if without further ado, I just go through the biographies of the people here. To begin with, myself, my name is 𝐬𝐩𝐤𝐸𝐵. I'm going to be your moderator for this session. I'm the founder of a company called #Digital Media, which produces interactive brochures, programs, etc. for business and for major sporting events. I'm hopefully going to be like a very good referee today. So if you've seen a great football match and the referee's been so fantastic, you forget who they are because they did such a good job. That's what I'm going to hopefully achieve, so you won't even remember who I am at the end of the session. Right then, the people who we do have today, the stars of the show. So I'll just very, very briefly introduce you. Firstly, to my right is Leo Delgado. So Leo is the director of football academies at Al Nassr. He's also spent a couple of years in Cairo as well. His background is with Barcelona. He's globally developed academies and has a fascinating background in this. So we're going to be talking about major clubs as well with Leo, along with the rest of our panel. Then we have Majdi Alulu. Now, Majdi is the founder and CEO of Grintify, and it's a fantastic app which I've had a deep look at. You're going to explain all of it to us, and we're going to talk about data and technology as well to the rest of the panel, but I know that's going to be your specialist subject, and you can tell us all about the app there as well. Then we have, just further along, and if you follow the names as well, it's 𝐋𝐢𝐤𝐤𝐞, who is the technical director for the Middle East for Paris Saint-Germain, and also a fantastic reputation in the world of academies in the Middle East and also in Europe. So again, with Cyril, we're going to talk about the role of major clubs with the academy system. And then finally we have then finally we have at the end Mohammed Wasfi. Now, Mohammed is the CEO of Right to Dream Egypt, which, as many people in Cairo, in Egypt, in North Africa, and in Africa will know, has a fantastic backstory within the work that's being done, not only in the last few years, but also very, very recently. We're going to talk about Right to Dream and also FC Mansour as well, and some of the incredible stuff that you've been doing in the women's game, along with the men's game as well. So that's our panel. Thank you very much for attending today. I'm going to go into the first question. Now, Leo, I'm sorry, you're closest to me, so I'm going to pick on you first here. I think we need to start at the very beginning, and the importance, I think academies, we look to the stars, to the Cristiano Ronaldos, to the Mohamed Salahs, the big players that come out. I want to look at the grassroots. What's the importance of getting things right at the very grassroots level, and how do we do that?
Thank you so much, Darren, for the invitation. Thank you so much to the Soccerex MENA event. So, as you know, now I'm coming from Saudi Arabia. Have been living there the last 4 years. Everybody knows the impact that Ronaldo has played in the next generation. So, from my point of view, my experience, the grassroots is the foundation of football. So, grassroots, when we are talking about grassroots, it could be kids, it could be adults, young people, everybody who is training in a non-professional way. And we were discussing before, you and me, no? The grassroots are important, but also it's very important the conversion rate we are having from the grassroots to the elite level. So sometimes we can have a huge communities that play football, but the key question is, okay, from all these grassroots or all the community participation, how many kids they really can reach the top level? Because at the end of the day, we want to promote the grassroots, but it's not only for play, it's just to really develop the talent for the future. So why I'm saying for me this is important, because grassroots also deserve to have good coaching, good coaches, not only like, oh, it's only for fun. Yes, grassroots for fun, they need to enjoy, they need to play, but they need also good quality of coaches, because better is the foundation of the grassroots, better is the standards in the grassroots itself, better will be the pathway for the next step that maybe are going to the school, to the academy, later for the club. So for me, the grassroots are the key, to be honest, the key where the kids need to have fun, enjoy, but also they need to have very good environment and very good quality coaches. Even if it's only for fun, they need to have the best environment.
Leo, that's a great point, and we will come on to the coaching as well, because coaching is an absolutely crucial step. You know, getting the coaching right first time is very important. Now, Majdi, we will talk about the app, have no fear, but I want to talk to you about grassroots, because obviously within your organisation you deal with, I think, over 2 million players. So you must be dealing very greatly with people who just want to play for the love of the game. How important is it to encourage that kind of ethos?
I think it's extremely important. So we Grantify, as you rightfully said, we do deal with a lot of different young talents from different backgrounds, from different places, and we do work with a lot of federations and clubs within Saudi and outside Saudi to try to attract those young talents from different backgrounds. Football is the beautiful sport, is the #1 sport globally. Kids don't need anything for us to tell them come and play. We need to just enable them with the tools and technologies they need to kind of make it. So I want to go back to that first question. So grassroots programs are being developed in different territories and in different lifespans of the players. So we have a lot of academy programs, we have schools programs, we have youth development programs that are developed in Saudi and outside. And I think with the combination of different efforts from the federations and companies and whatnot, we will kind of help them get where they want and enjoy the sport.
Cyril, just want to move on as well. And similarly, we're talking grassroots. I mean, you're doing this, you know, what you're doing at the moment in your line of work. What are you doing to sort of encourage those players to come through? And again, I know we've had that conversation about the joy of playing the football opposed to getting the stars, getting the great players as well. How do you determine between the two, and what are you doing in your role?
So we would like to give them the best environment possible to play football. And for a child, having fun, to play, to learn how to play football, but to have fun as well, is a key for us to keep both. So to give them freedom, to give them joy to play, same as we had when we were young, when we were kids, in the street or wherever we played. It's a key for us.
How do you build on that? Because obviously once you have that freedom, once you have that joy, there is then the element of finding someone who's not only enjoying their football, but actually they're good at that. Then you have to develop that talent, don't you? How do you find that talent from the players that are playing?
We are here to help them to reach their full potential. So our academies are open to everyone. There is no selection to enter a PSG academy. And some of them might be professional, could be in their country, could be in Qatar. Our base for the Middle East could be in any other country, could be for a university. But to help them to reach their potential.
Mohammed, Right to Dream, I mean, a fantastic organisation that has kind of spanned not just in Egypt and North Africa, you're now sort of in Denmark, across into the United States as well. You really are being involved at that grassroots level. And what's the ethos with your organisation with actually spreading the word of football?
Well, to begin with, we believe that excellence can be found anywhere. And the way it's been done with Right to Dream is there are two main buckets, which is talent identification and development. And when we speak about talent identification, we scout young players between the ages 10 and 11 in all areas of the country. We go into the villages, we go into places that lots of clubs wouldn't even go there. And what makes us special is that we like to provide the opportunity. It's divided into three pillars where we scout the player, we nurture the player, and then we connect the player with some of our pathways within the Right to Dream community, which consists of clubs and academies. We have an academy in Ghana, so we scout in the West African area. We have an academy in Egypt, in Denmark, in San Diego, and we've got three clubs in Egypt: FC Masar, FC Northland in Denmark, and San Diego FC in the US. So, and not everyone will make it onto the pro football pathway. And I think what makes Right to Dream unique is that at age 16 we can determine whether the player, whether a boy or a girl, can go on the pro football pathway. If they can't, then we have an educational pathway with some of our partner schools in the US.
And do you think that's what sets yourselves apart, because you've got the education that's aligned with that, but also the other clubs, I think the clubs here as well, also offer that too. So it's very important to sort of acknowledge that people may not be the next superstar. They may actually be playing football, enjoying their game, and then actually need an education out of that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what makes us special as well, it's a residential academy, and we've got schools on all of our campuses. So we believe in the holistic approach where we provide education, character development, and also football at elite level. And I think what sets us apart is every graduate out of Right to Dream, we will connect them with a pathway. And that's what makes us special, whether on a pro football pathway or an educational pathway.
Thank you. Leo, I'm going to come back to you. I mean, the title of this is Developing the Next Generation of MENA Talent. So by saying it's the next generation, it already suggests that we have a generation of talent, which is great news. And we know, looking at the world game, that not just in Egypt, but throughout the Middle East, throughout the rest of the world, talent has come from here. You've spent some time in the Middle East. Why is it now sort of fertile ground for developing players? Why do you think it's becoming important to see good players come from the Middle East, and why are they there all of a sudden?
As you mentioned before, I have been living in the Middle East the last 6 years. 2 years here in Cairo and the last 4 years in 𝐋𝐢𝐤𝐤𝐶. I have realized that there is a lot of talented players, and I think the reason, because every time we'll see more and more players, is because every time they are all the level are being more professional. And when we are talking about development of the player, we need to talk always. I like to see always the big picture. It means from the federation to the clubs to the academies to the grassroots. Why? Because I guess it's fundamental that the federation in the Middle East, they raise the standards. At the same time, they raise the standard of the clubs. They raise the standard of the clubs. It's going with the education of the coach that we'll discuss later. Because more competition, the federation, better competition they do, more they play, more the federation make better license for the coaches, more education for the coaches. It's ecosystem. It's not only about, there is a player in this country. It's no, what is happening in this country? What is happening in this ecosystem? What is happening with the infrastructure? What is happening with the coach education? What is happening with the schools itself? What is happening with the Minister of Education, Minister of Sports? So everything is connected. So it's not only about one single action that makes you to develop a player. It's the whole ecosystem that is pushing to go in one direction. I'm coming now from Saudi Arabia, where they have the Saudi Vision 2030. They have the Quality Life of program. They have been very structured about what they want. They want mass participation, talent development, and elite performance. They are very clear on how they want to achieve this, when they want to achieve this. And they're creating many programs that everybody, federation, clubs, and academies are going in one direction. So that's the reason in the next upcoming years we will see more here in the Middle East, because I know you have here Egypt 2030 also vision, you have I guess Qatar vision also they will keep. So all the countries start doing a good way to copy this model, to have a vision where you can reach a better model.
And I know we talked about the top-down model as well, didn't you? You said when it filters down is very important, and I'm pretty sure that is. Majdi, you're in the thick of it. I mean, you really are in the thick of this kind of very, very sort of fertile ground for talent. Why is it now here? Why have you got so many people that are desperate to play football, people who come to Soccerex, so many organisations we see in this exhibition centre? This is Egypt, North Africa, the Middle East. Why is it such a great place for football interest and talent at this particular time?
Because we kind of see all the initiatives around us. We see where the sport is going. We see a lot of success stories. We see Mo Salah. We see all of these great players that are taking their national flag up high. And I think those young talents want to do that. They want to be the next Mo Salah. They want to enjoy the sport. They want to be successful. And I think if they would do it in sports, soccer would be kind of your first to-go sport to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's taken me 2 days to be here to know that just about everyone supports Liverpool in Cairo. And,
right.
I kind of guess I know why that well may be. Cyril, obviously we come to you, and as I say, your role previously with the academy as well. The fact that you're actually sort of working with the Middle East as well, and in the Middle East must mean that you realise there's a lot of talent in this area. How do you perceive that to be different from the heartlands traditionally of Europe, say? Why is the MENA territories suddenly very up and coming at the moment?
I think all start with a vision from the top leadership to develop football in this region. As Lionel said, it's a whole ecosystem with coaches, with players, with leading events as the World Cup we had in Qatar or the future World Cup in Saudi. More and more grassroots program, more and more business opportunities. It's a region which is growing a lot in all different aspects of the football industry. And all clubs are coming here as well for grassroots. Elite Project has Right to Dream, so it's a whole ecosystem, an entire ecosystem, which is getting bigger and bigger.
And obviously you're sort of representing Paris Saint-Germain in that particular reason. Is there any one reason or a number of the above mentioned why PSG are looking at the Middle East in particular and wanting to have a presence and obviously wanting to have you there?
We started in Qatar because the club is owned by Qatar Sport Investment with a quite successful model for our academy. And based on this success, we try to expand in other countries. So we did in Kuwait, in UAE, and more recently in Saudi Arabia and Jordan. So it's growing well.
And that's an interesting model, and Mohamed, I'm going to come to you because we're going to talk Right to Dream now, if we can, and it feels like that's a slightly different model because obviously Qatar, gone to PSG, large European presence, come back again. Right to Dream, Egypt, it's obviously originally founded in Africa as the organisation, then in Egypt. You've obviously gone, and tell us about your role globally because you've gone into the States, you've set up in Denmark as well. So what's the ethos with Right to Dream going the other way, if you like, moving out of MENA and into other territories?
We believe that there's a lot of knowledge and development that the world can get out of Africa. And that's why when Right to Dream was founded almost 26 years ago, that was always part of the vision that knowledge isn't always coming from Europe, but you can also get knowledge from Africa. It's a two-way thing. And I believe like going back to some of the points here about kids enjoying their time and having fun while they're playing, I think that's a very important element. But if we look at Egypt, there's a lot of potential. And if you look at the top 2 players in the world now in terms of goals contribution, Omar Marmoush and Mo Salah, the potential is definitely there. But we have to take the fun out of it a little bit. And when we're developing the players, we take them out of an unstructured environment and put them in a structured one. And that will allow them to become elite football players in the future. So the development and the fundamentals need to start from a very young age. And that's what we've done in West Africa. And you see the likes of Mohamed Kudus, Simona Dingra, Ibrahim Osman, players that have gone on and played in the Champions League. And we expect the same from Egypt in the near future. And I believe with obviously what's happening in Saudi, in Qatar, in UAE, a lot of money is being invested in football, which is great for the region. And who knows, maybe in 2034, when we have great development in the region, you could have a winning team from the region for the World Cup. You never know.
Are you going to say Egypt now?
Maybe.
I'm sure there's an audience here that is thinking Egypt have got their name on it. So it's a possibility, certainly. And I think I spoke to Cyril about this, and Europe hasn't had a World Cup, or in the next few years we'll have had very few, and we've had one in Qatar. There'll have been one in Saudi Arabia as well. So the world game is coming this way. Right. The not the big one, but I'm going to talk data and technology. And I know there's someone there who's very interested in this one, but I'm going to come to you first, Leo, and this is not a setup, honestly. I mean, there are so many tech companies here at the exhibition. There are people who offer technology, etc., in different formats. And I think a lot of people look at academies and future players. They can tell who's going to be. What do you see as the role of data purely in picking future players and talent?
So you touch a very important point. I guess nowadays, if you are not working with artificial intelligence, if you are not working with technology, in this moment you are far away. So you are lost, I will say. Nowadays you need to know artificial intelligence, about technology. Clubs need to implement, if didn't implement them, to have work on that. So I will say that the next point, many people is talking about artificial intelligence will take my job. No, artificial intelligence in football will take the job of the people who don't know how to manage, because all these technologies are tools that for the future are here and will stay here, so we need to learn how to use it. And again, when we are talking about the coach education, the future is not only the theoretical and practical part of the coach education, it's also about the artificial intelligence or technology in coaching. Because it's clearly, in the next probably 1 year, 2 years, we'll have technology that they will tell to you, okay, because we have Apple Watch, they will tell to you how many hours did you sleep, what you eat, how is your nutrition. So probably you will have a program that will tell to you, okay, for this week, the scheduled training will be this. And every time we will go more and more to personalized training to the individual. We are clear that the focus is the player, to develop the player. But every time we will go more and more deep to develop a specific player according the personalized training. So technology here must, if you are not in technology, you must start now. I will not say it's the future, it's happening now. It's happening now.
Yeah. We indeed have technology, and as I say, a stroll around halls 3 and halls 4 will tell you that. So, Majdi, the floor is yours. Technology, apps. You've got a little something up there that's really playing a big part in football, not just in this area, but I think with global ambitions. Tell everyone what you're doing, what you have, and what your plans are.
So before we go there, I'm a strong believer that tech is a great enabler for all of my colleagues here. They're all doing great jobs at managing academies and managing different sports clubs. But I think with technology, we kind of make their life easier. It just makes it easy for them. It makes it easy for the players in a way that it was just not available before. I used to be a very great football player, amazing football player, but I was never able to go to Al-Nassr and tell them, hey, I'm here. I truly believe that they were looking for me, but they didn't know that I existed. So I think tech kind of bridges the gap between those young talents that are really good, and they're probably available in those remote areas. Maybe they don't have the financial means to go to PSG Academy, but then using tech, it gives them that ability to kind of showcase their portfolio, put in their uploads, put in their videos, which also enables those clubs to have, with one click, they can see a 15-year-old left foot right midfielder player that has these certain stats. We've been doing it for a while. I think we had created a lot of success stories in the region, in Saudi and Egypt. And I think one of our main success stories, which is something that I'm very proud of, we kind of scouted this player from a very remote area in Saudi, in Jizan, which is all the way down south, for Al-Ittifaq club, for Gerard's team, ex-Gerard. He went from that remote area, he's playing with Ittifaq, and now he's playing in the national team in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully he would be one of the players that would represent us in the 2034 World Cup. Tech is the way to go. There is no way as a football club right now you're not using technology in a way or another. With all these AI and artificial intelligence and machine learning, it kind of makes your life as a scout or as a club owner that much easier.
And just a little bit about the company itself as well. You can get the plug-in now as well. So what is it you exactly offer? How many people are currently signed up with yourselves, and where are you heading as well?
Yeah, so Grantify is the largest talent discovery platform in the Middle East. We're at 2.3, 2.4 million people right now. Well, we have user base from all over the globe, but most of our users are in Saudi and Egypt. We kind of equip these young talents with the tools they need to kind of build their own football CV. They participate in games, they participate in tryouts. They get to be rated by tech, they get to be rated by AI, by coaches. The more their profile is visible, the more it's seen by our club partners, and we have been working literally with everybody in Saudi. And I'm very proud to say that all of the Saudi national initiatives to scout talents are performed by our organization.
Wow, okay. So if it's Saudi versus Egypt in the final in 2034, it'll be down to you two guys, obviously,
sure.
that got them there. Okay, Cyril, now I'm just going to very quickly touch on technology with yourself, but I've got another question as well for you. But obviously, in your day-to-day life, technology must, touch what you do and how you deal with your academy. How important is it for you, and how do you utilize technology to try and get the generations of talent through?
It's not something we use that much at the moment, and for sure it's a room for improvement for us.
I'll give you my phone number after this.
Yeah. However, I'm sure we could collaborate with companies like 𝐋𝐤𝐤𝐞 company to create a bridge between our players and professional clubs, especially in talent identification, to give them even more opportunities.
And that's good, because that leads to my second question, which I've teed you up for, because I kind of knew that was going to be the answer. And I want to get on to coaching and the importance of actually coaching standards, because we're talking about bringing the next generation through. Majdi, you've got the app. Mohammed, you've had this organisation that's brought people through. And Leo, at the cold face with the kids. But actually, if the coaching isn't very good, there's no point doing it. So how do you get the right standard of coaching and the right coaches? Cyril, how do you do that?
Coaches are the key of the organization. Without good coaches, we'll never have a good environment for our players. So I would say the first step is to choose the right people. I would say human first before being a football coach, to build a strong organization, a strong family. And then it's coaches' education, but not only for licenses, not only when they go to the federation or to AFC or to CAF to do their degrees, but also on a daily and weekly follow-up, on a personalized education plan for all of them to develop their strengths and to make them better day after day.
Now, I know you're a UEFA A license holder.
UEFA A, AFC Pro.
So it's obviously very important when you deal with coaches in your role as well. What do you look for in the coaches?
Depends on the group they are working with. But as I said, human first. Someone who is open to progress, who wants to progress, and with I don't know the word in English, certitude.
Yeah,
like
right attitude.
is,
Yeah.
but yes, the will to progress is the key for me.
Perfect. Mohammed, so bringing the generations through, Right to Dream, and I'm going to touch on FC Mansour in a minute, the massive, massive success story. Not that the Right to Dream isn't already anyway, but for yourself, how do you coach people? What do you look for when you bring young people through the physical standards of coaching?
Yeah, I think this is a very important topic, because without good coaches, you won't be able to deliver the style of play and even how you do it and how you go about it. And I want to touch on what Cyril just mentioned, and it's the human being before anything. The character is so important. You need to have the right people inside the building that can deliver your curriculum, the knowledge, the style of play. The way we're set up as well, we have a technical director, we have a head of coaching and an assistant head of coaching. And the role of the head of coaching is they observe the head coaches on the training pitch. And after the session, they provide feedback to the coaches so that they can touch on some of the weaknesses or the strengths, and they can talk about it. And this way, you ensure that the players will get the best sessions always. I think one of the things we lack in the Middle East is elevating the level of coaches, and I think it's very important that you need to start young with the coaches, and that's what we've done in Right to Dream Egypt. Most of our assistant coaches are Egyptians that are very passionate. They're good people, and they're hungry and for the knowledge, and they want the potential, and they have the potential to grow. So we give them that, we give them the environment where they can grow, and we also sponsor their coaching badges in Europe. So it's something I think that is very important. If you want to make sure that this program is sustainable, you need to develop coaches as well as develop players.
Coaching clearly, seemingly one of the key elements to this sort of grassroots. Leo, and I think Leo and Cyril, I might just ask you this particular one. It kind of relates to professional clubs and their academies and what they do. How important are, Al Nassr and the clubs, in Qatar? How important are the pro clubs going to be to getting this generation of talent through for MENA? Are they very, very important? Clearly.
So now before I was talking from out, now I will talk from a club perspective. Let's start with the basics. In the clubs, they need first of all that philosophy, something that we talk a lot: philosophy, identity, curriculum. It's very important that even if you are in grassroots academy or club, you have very clear the curriculum, what you will do in every stage, from 6 years old to 10 years old, from 10 years old to 14, and later from 15 to 18, and also how you close the gap. Because for me, the most important part is when you are 18 years old and you have from 18 to 23, because it's not easy to jump from 18 years old directly to the first team. So how you bridge this gap in the next generation. So I will, number one, I would say, is to train the player in and out of the field, like they are doing in Right to Dream. It's very important, because the most common question I have sometimes from those kids who are not in the residency is like, my kid can be Cristiano, my kid can be the new football star. And always I say to them, I see him 1 hour, 2 hours by day. I don't know what he's doing the next 22 hours. I don't know if he's playing PlayStation, if he's going to, what his nutrition. So going back again, very important, the club philosophy, the stability, and I will say something about the mindset of the clubs, mindset of the coaches. Why? Because I have the feeling that still in this region, there is too much this pressure for win, 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 where the most important is win, and still we need to change this mindset from win to develop and learning for the players. And I'm talking from my experience. I have been in many friendly matches where parents, kids, it's just a friendly match and they look like they are in the final of the champion. And it's okay, it's fun, it's a good environment, but we need to understand this is a friendly match, this is a place where the kids need to learn, it's a place where all the kids need to play. we don't have to just take opportunities of a kid to play just because the coach want to win the match. No, you need all the players to play. All of them, they need to get exposed to this experience. And again, I will go again with the message. It's very important to change the mindset of only win. Yes, win is important, but more important is the process of learning and develop and trust in the process. Because in a long term, if we're thinking a long term, this is the player who will arrive in the future, not the player who is. Because for me, to win a match 10-0 doesn't give me any value. But to play in a match where the both teams are 1-0, 1-1, this is a good experience for the player. So here again, another point, important, how many matches or how many experience are the player exposed. This is a fact. These leagues or this federation, the class play a lot of matches, and the kids are exposed to more competition and more matches, they are more talented. Why? Because they are exposed to this kind of pressure that they will feel if they become professional. From my experience, I have seen many players who are very talented, but when you put them under pressure, they go down. So that means that they need more and more competition and get exposed to this pressure. I will say normal pressure, normal competition, but this will come with the support of the coach to say, okay, if you make a mistake, no worry, I'm here to support you. But at the same time, someone has to support the coach to tell to him, okay, if you lose a match, it's okay. As long as the team play as we want, or as long as the player is developing. So again, I will say that the change of mentality to really trust the process and see that this is the most important in a long term.
Cyril, I want to go through those points raised as well, because the big club mentality, if you like, but obviously through PSG as well, and how do you get that ethos? Is there a team mentality that, for the benefit of the young people coming through, you hope to put into the young players?
It's same idea as Lionel. It's also how we evaluate our coaches. The best coaches are not the coaches who win, especially for young age, but how is the player in September and how will be in May. This will be a criteria for our coaches. So not only winning, but how we develop the players to allow mistakes, to allow players to try, to have initiatives, to try new things. And this is the philosophy we try to bring and to train young players.
And that's what I'm saying is that's the PSG philosophy, that's actually a kind of embedded within the club to the players, to the academy.
I think not only PSG, but this is part of our philosophy in France.
Yeah.
And what we try to implement in our academies.
People use the word, it's in the DNA, don't they? And it's that kind of thing that comes through. Majdi, I'm going to move it slightly away from the coaching side of things. I want to talk about something which I presume you do, and I'm making a presumption here. I want to talk about organisations, football organisations, and I imagine with the business that you've developed, with the connections that you've made, how football organisations, and I'm talking about obviously within Africa, but beyond as well, working with FIFA and UEFA, what role football organisations and partnerships with them can have to benefit young people and people coming through in the MENA area?
So football organizations in general, whether it was here in Africa, they have one goal, right? They do want to develop the sport. They want to take it to the next level, whether it was from a grassroots perspective or from a TV rights or whatever. So the collaboration that we do between the federations or the organizations or our platform has been great. And I think all what we want to do is one, right? So we want to develop the sport. We want to elevate the game. We want fans to enjoy the match better, and we want to enable those young dreamers with the need. I think we all share the same goal, and I think with all the initiatives that's been happening the last few years and all the investment that's happening now in Saudi and Egypt in sports in general, it's just going to make it that much better in the near future.
Yeah. Is there any more that could be done, though? Would there be, if you had the chance to appeal to any organisations, what would you ask for if there was any more that could be done?
I mean, I don't want to be biased, but I think the use of technology on what they do, not Grantify, but in general, I think it's a must. I think there's still a lot of old school kind of dealing with things that's still happening in 2025. And I think they need to realize sooner or later that usage of technology in maintaining their team and developing the organization and scouting new talents is the way to go. There's no way about it.
Yeah, and as I said again, looking across, Soccerex and beyond, it's just full of technology, isn't it? There are so many technology businesses. I just wanted to come across, Mohammed, the subject that I did want to touch upon as well, and I think we've still got a bit more time left, just about the role of the rise of the women's game. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this as well, because there's just a most incredible success story, and I'd like to find out what the secret to that success is. So, FC Massar, tell us about that, and also where you feel the women's game fits in with this in the MENA.
I'll touch on it a little bit, and later on there's our sporting director Mariam is going to be in one of the panels discussing women's football, and I'm sure she'll shed more light on it. But FC Massar started with a plan, a 7-year plan. It was we spoke about the strategy of the club and where we want to be. And our main objective was we want to be champions of Africa, so to win the CAF Champions League. We had put KPIs from year 1 to year 7 to see where we are and how we will achieve those KPIs until we reach our final objective. I think we took advantage of some inefficiencies in the league here in Egypt. Not a lot of teams were competing with Wadi Degla, who were champions for the last 14 years. And we had to put a plan to kind of surpass Wadi Degla. And in our first year, we won the Egyptian Cup. And then the following year, we won the Egyptian Premier League and the Cup as well. And it enabled us to play the CAF Champions League last November in Morocco, where we came in 3rd place. And this is the first time in Egyptian history that a women's team receive a medal on a continental level. But I think what's been fascinating is the fact that a lot of our players were scouted at the CAF Champions League, and as a result of that, we have a player that our sporting director had scouted previously in Uganda. She played for us for 6 months, and we just concluded her transfer to Washington Spirits in the NWSL. So we want to register ourselves as a hub and a gateway from Africa onto some of the best leagues in the world. Our top scorer also just transferred to China, playing for the 2nd best team there. And I think the future is very bright for FC Massar, and we're impacting the game in Egypt by professionalizing it. And I think we were one of the first teams in the Egyptian league to provide professional contracts to all of our players. And it's something that other teams have followed suit, which is great for the ecosystem. And it's going to improve the quality of players and the level of coaching. And I think in 5 to 6 years, we will have a very strong Egyptian national team for the women's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just an incredible meteoric rise, as we say. So we'll just touch on the women's game with yourself as well. The role of the women's game in terms of culture and community in MENA. Obviously you must be sort of viewing that as well? Cyril, so yeah.
In Qatar, the women's game is not very developed yet. There is no league under the federation at the moment. However, we try to make our contribution to the development of women football in the country, especially with youth, with women as well. And we had one success story with one of our players who is now with FC Massar, Maya Abdelrazak, who started football with us in Qatar and is now playing Champions League here.
Fantastic, fantastic. Leo, I just want to come to you talking about that as well, the rise of women's games. And actually, I'm going to touch on a different angle of that, if that's okay. For yourself, women's football, cultural, community, that poses different questions as well for the rise of talent?
No, it's also important regarding, I will say, my experience now in Saudi Arabia. When I went 4 years ago, still the federation didn't exist. They went very fast in develop the football federation. I remember when we tried to open the first academy for women 4 years ago. It was challenging because we couldn't find coaches. So it was normal, was not federation, no license, anything. I remember we started the academy with only 2 girls. So only 2 girls. We were more than happy. It's okay. This is a start. After that, the Saudi Federation opened the federation itself. In only 1 year, they start to have the teams under 17, first team, under 17. Al Nasser Club also, they are the champion of the first 2 editions. And in the club also, we are developing, we are pushing with the girls, creating program for the girls. And also the Saudi Federation itself, they have the regional training centers that they are doing academies for free, just to promote this community for everybody to be able to play. Still, there is at least in Saudi Arabia, I will say, I don't want to say a long process, but they are following the right steps to keep promoting more and more and more the female participation. And one of the things I realize and I can see now is that the new generation that have been training the last 3 years, I will say this, they are much better than the girls who they have the same opportunities. We can see that we have some girls 13 years old that are playing much better than the girls who are 17 years old, and it's surprising. It's like, okay, that's moving fast, you know. When early you start with the girls, early you start with the future generation, better is the improvement.
Fast improvement, and that's what you want to see. Majdi, same question about the rise of the women's game in the MENA area, but I kind of see you taking it more from a potentially an entrepreneurial sort of aspect as well, because you know you reach out to over 2 million players. You know, you must see there's massive potential in that game.
Definitely. I mean, the last couple of years, the amount of investment that's happened in Saudi and women's football has been amazing. And fun fact, 9% of our user base is actually females. So we got. I was
going to get to that number. So thank you.
So we got about 200,000 female players registered in our application. And we've actually implemented a lot of tournaments in Saudi and in Egypt not too long ago, where we had tens of academies, female academies participating. It was very fun. They're very competitive, and a lot of them are really good. And I'm very proud to say that we have kind of helped a number of them also reach 2 clubs. 𝐬𝐩𝐤𝐞 club in Saudi is one of the uprising clubs right now. All of their female teams was scouted by Grintify. So it's an industry, or it's a space that we think nobody's looking at. And I think from the work that we did in the last couple of years for women football has helped, and I think will help a lot in the next few months as well.
That's brilliant. I think it shows that there's great work going on with the clubs to help, especially with the rise of the women, but also with organisations such as yourself, and then obviously Right to Dream as well. I don't know if I think we are. No, we can still continue. I didn't know if we were going to ask questions or. Okay, that's fantastic. So I've just got an extra one for everyone here as well. So one of the things I did want to ask about, and I'm going to start at the bottom end there with Mohammed, really, was infrastructure, because obviously one of the things that potentially it's a Eurocentric view, and it may be completely wrong, because obviously Leo and Cyril, you work with clubs in the Middle East, but that the infrastructure may not necessarily be there at the moment. Is the infrastructure there to develop great talent, or what needs to be done to develop it more quickly or better?
Yeah, infrastructure is very, very important, and I think a lot of investment now is. There's a lot of investment in infrastructure, and that's what we did with Right to Dream. We built a facility over, like, it's the size is about 16 acres. It's got football pitches, gym, small hotel, school, residence for our young academy boys and girls. And I think if you want the right environment, the right discipline to be able to develop potential players in the future, you need proper infrastructure, 100%.
Cyril, I mean, you'd think the marriage of PSG and Qatar or PSG in the Middle East would lead to unlimited finance, I'm not being rude here, but unlimited finance and instant infrastructure. That's not necessarily the case, is it? It does take time to build what you require to bring players through.
Yeah, infrastructure are a part of the environment you want for your players. Thanks to the last World Cup in Qatar, we have amazing training facilities all over the country. And I think it's getting better and better in all countries of MENA region, Saudi, UAE, Kuwait.
Majdi, obviously, I'm going to ask you about not just really the MENA area and what you have to sort of develop that talent, but I know that we had a quick chat before and where your thoughts were about the app developing in other areas of the world. You know, we kind of briefly mentioned, as long as it's not secret, that, you know, South America, sorry, in these areas. How are they developed or different to the culture that you've got with the MENA areas?
So I believe the Latin Americas, it's a very similar environment to what we do here in the Middle East. That's why it is our next step with the platform. We've kind of studied different markets, so Europe and US, and obviously they're more developed, they've got more structure in place. But definitely what we look at in Brazil and Argentina is an environment or is a soccer kind of process that is very similar to what's happening in the Middle East. Very unstructured, a lot of lost talent that don't know how to get to where they want. So yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities between what's happening here in the Middle East and Latin America for sure.
But do you feel that this area, which is your area here in MENA, is actually quite well developed? If you went across to the US or even to South America, you'd feel comfortable with what you're leaving behind, or you feel more could be done in the Middle East?
Oh, definitely there's more that can be done. We've done a great job, but we just scratched the surface. There's so much that needs to be done, and there's so much planned. And I think the next few months or year will be great for all of our user base and all of our club partners and federations.
And Leo, have you ticked every box? Is everything finished in terms of structure or infrastructure, or is there more? Is there more that you would like to see as well?
I guess we can assume that it's important technology, it's important infrastructure, the coaching philosophy, and just I can say, going back to the infrastructure. If you go to the benchmark that is called in Europe, most of the biggest clubs, they have amazing sports cities, and this is where this heading now, where Saudi Arabia, most of the clubs are going and looking to expand the facilities, because if you really want to think in a long term, and you need to have more and more better facilities, attract better coaches, develop better players.
And I think that's probably the lesson from today, whether it's from what Leo said about working top down. It's very important to get the best. Majdi as well, technology is absolutely crucial, using technology properly. Cyril as well, with the coaching side of things, the coaching has to be right. It's a combination of all of those. I think Mohammed at the end there with Right to Dream, it's having the vision and having the scheme, and just, the way it's developed with FC Mensah. Shows it reaps almost instant rewards. Okay, I think that is our time, gentlemen. So time is up. I don't know if we're going to ask for any questions at all, or I think we're going to move onwards. So these guys have got away with it. They're very lucky indeed. We've escaped the questions. I do think that we should have a round of applause for Mohammed, Cyril, Majdi and Lionel. Yeah, keep that going, please, because they've deserved that. They've been absolutely fantastic. My name is Darren Eisted. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. Thank you, gentlemen. That's been really good.
Thank you so much.